Hey folks, it's December 19th. I wanted to give you an update on how the germination is going. All my girls have entered into vegetation state. They're growing well, but I'll give you an update on that. Also going to get a little bit scientific on you here today. I wanted to touch a little bit more on the circadian clock cycle or the sunlight clock cycle that these plants go through. And there's a specific reason for that. If you stick through to the end of the video, you'll understand why it's a super important thing, especially if you're growing cannabis for adult uses. I've learned some things in my last 20 years of growing that this one's super important, so hope you hang in there. Update on the cannabis germination. These girls are all starting to head into vegetative state. Next step after that, we'll let them grow out for about 4 weeks. I'll be advancing their clock cycle, their sunlight clock cycle, up to around 16 or 18 hours by then. But what I'll be doing is I'll be taking the utmost top of the plant, clipping that off for tissue culture, and I'll go through the whole tissue culture process with you guys. Another thing I want to mention, I used to use advanced nutrients. Dr. Terzaghi over at Wilkes University kind of laughed at me for that. Advanced nutrients, it was an expensive, kind of a complex way of feeding your plants. It worked good. It did work good in cocoa. But anyway, all you need is this Super Thrive. It's an organic gardening fertilizer that works great. It's inexpensive, especially if you're a small home grower. You don't have to spend too much money on fertilizers. This is basically fish emulsion, which works great. The girls are coming along great. I've got one mutant in the back there. I'm sure she'll be history. But anyway, they all seem to be coming along pretty good. So guys, this is an AI-generated flow diagram of both the metabolic process and the photosynthesis process. I'm just kidding. I want to freak you out a little bit. It actually is, but that's not what I'm going to show you. Okay, now for the science part. And trust me, if you hang in there, if you're a cannabis grower, it's well worth your while to hang in there on this one. So all plants have mineral and water transport systems called the xylem and the phloem. The xylem is a one direction channel that transports water and minerals. Okay, the phloem, on the other hand, goes in both directions through small perforations throughout the cells. So, and this is a result of photosynthesis. Okay, so the reason I'm telling you this, without getting too much into it, the sunlight hits a chlorophyll cell in a plant. And what happens is it absorbs water, it releases oxygen, it releases sugar, and absorbs CO2. And this is all inside the plant. So while the sunlight is hitting the plant, it's energizing the plant, and those are the things that are happening. Basically, the sugars and the oxygen is floating throughout the plant. This is during the daytime. So, folks, in the spirit of keeping this thing around 3 minutes, I'm going to greatly summarize the photosynthesis and the respiration process. Basically, what's happening in the daytime, the plant is pulling all the nutrients from the roots, distributing these nutrients throughout the plant to help it live. At nighttime, the opposite happens. All of the nutrients, all the sugars from the plant are transported back down into the roots. Now, if you cut your plants down in the middle of the day, you're going to get all that terrible tasting sugars and stuff. It doesn't burn right and it tastes terrible. But if you cut your plants down at, say, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, all of the sugars, all of those minerals are back down in the roots of the plant, so you don't get those. So it's common knowledge amongst most professional growers that you cut your plants down at night. It greatly enhances the quality and the taste of your product. So just a little tidbit of advice from an old guy. From an old guy.